deeply, challenge yourself, and when you leave here, carry not just the lessons, but the spirit of service, of excellence, and collaboration that defines this movement. On behalf of the entire Medtransitions global team, I welcome you, not just to the summit, but challenge yourself. And when you leave here, carry not just the lessons, but the spirit of service, of excellence, and collaboration that defines this movement. Now. Welcome to Medtransitions. On behalf of the entire Medtransitions global team, thank you. I welcome you, not just to the summit, but challenge yourself. And
hello once again. Let's invite Dr. Elvis Amponsa to give us the address by the JDA representative.
Thank you very much. Good evening, colleagues, and congratulations on achieving this major milestone. As she rightly said, I'm Dr. Elvis Amponsa. I'm standing in as the JDA representative. So as you begin your journey as House officers, allow me to introduce you to a family that will work with you through this phase, the Junior Doctor Association. So the Junior Doctors Association, popularly known as the JDA, is the official body that represents all junior doctors in the country. Our mission is simple but vital. It's to advocate for your welfare, to protect your rights, and create opportunities for your professional and personal development, and also to facilitate the transition from medical school to the working environment. And we stand as a bridge between you and the institutions that govern our work, ensuring that your voice is heard and your concerns are addressed. So why do you even need to be part or actively participate in JDA activity? Because once you're a house officer, you're automatically part of the JDA community. And JDA is a sub-unit of GMA. It's a body under the Ghana Medical Association. So one, welfare support. So with the JDA, we provide assistance in terms of personal or professional difficulty, whether it's navigating work-related challenges or emergencies. You will never be alone. Secondly, representation. So through JDA, your voice counts. The association engages management and government on matters like salary delays and postings. Also, you'll get to connect with other doctors across the country. You get to gain mentors and build relationships that can guide your growth in medicine. It also organizes seminars, workshops, and capacity building programs that would help shaping your skills beyond the world. And lastly, as I stated, it's a community. So you become part of a network that celebrates your wins, supports you in setbacks, and reminds you that medicine is a shared journey. Under JDA, we have regional chapters. So we have the Ashanti Regional Chapter, we have the Western and Central Regional Chapters, we have the Eastern Regional Chapters, we have the Greater Accra Regional Chapters. So wherever you find yourself, you are governed by a regional chapter where if you have any issues, you report to them and all that. Also, there are other committees that are under JDA, of which you can be part of and through which you can actively work with us. Some of the standing committees are Welfare Standing Committee. We have a committee for housemanship affairs. We have another committee for placement of medical officers. This is to say that when we talk about Junior Doctor Association, it's not just first and second year house officers. Medical officers are also part of Junior Doctors Association up until the rank of a principal medical officer. You are part of the Junior Doctor Association. So fellow colleagues, the JD is not just an association. It's a movement built by doctors for doctors. So your involvement will strengthen it and your participation would give it life. And your voice joined with others will make it powerful. So as you take your first steps as house officers, I invite you to join us fully, not just as members, but as contributors, advocates, and partners in shaping the future of our profession. Congratulations once again, and we are proud of you. And we look forward to working with you side by side as you grow into this noble calling. Thank you very much and have a nice evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Elvis Amponsa, for that address. So our next session is sponsored by Students Mestor Ghana. Our next session will be focusing on well-being as a house officer. Our speaker is a Ghana Psychology Council intern. He worked with the University of Ghana Careers and Counseling Directorate. He is currently with the Lekma Hospital Psychology Unit. He's a mental health advocate with features on ZFM Ghana and other platforms. His personal philosophy is, the mind is a great asset to humanity. Tame the mind and you will tame your life. Ladies and gentlemen, with a show of emojis, help me welcome psychologist Stanislaus Nyaku.
Thank you very much for that powerful introduction. Good evening, everybody. I hope I can be heard. Thank you very much. Oh boy. A moment. Please, is my screen visible?
Please, it is visible now.
Thank you. So once again, good evening to all of us. And we are guided today listening to the processes in the School of Medicine and the processes that has brought all of us this far. I count myself blessed to be here. I think I'm the only person here who is not a doctor, but I feel like a doctor this afternoon. So I would enjoy my doctorate degree as it lasts. So this afternoon or this late afternoon, we are gathered here to look at wellness and well-being during this critical period as far as our development and our practice is concerned as junior doctors. So my name is Nyaku Stanislaus. I am a clinical psychologist in training, hence the Ghana Psychology Council intern. So just go right into it. So our outline is going to feature transition from school to hospital work. We are going to look at managing burnout and demanding hours. We will look at protecting your mental health, especially guarding against depression. Then we'll share some thoughts on sustaining wellness across the 2-year journey. So we have 15 minutes to reflect. So I may not use the slides much, or I may use the slides and then share some very necessary thoughts and sentiments with you as the presentation goes on. So as we are all aware, if you are not aware, then we know now that housemanship is a very demanding time in the life of a junior doctor. This is a period where you are transitioning from, like our welcome address stated, you are moving from the textbooks into human beings. So this is where you're going to apply all your theories, all your techniques on real life subjects. It can be very overwhelming. It can be very daunting. And some of the features that comes with it is the imposter syndrome or the self-doubt. Sometimes you see yourself and you are wondering, is this what I signed up for? All the reality shocks begins to hit you during this time of life. And if you are not fortunate and your supervisors are not the cooperative ones, it makes your life even more miserable. And then you begin to ask questions like, what at all have I signed up for? Where is my life going to go from here? But there is hope. There is always hope. And the hope is that through mentorship and peer support, we can adjust and we can weather the storm. So all we have to know as we set forth on the journey is that a lot of storms are going to meet us. We are going to encounter a lot of storms. This brings the analogy of the plant or the tree into the question. I just want all of us, especially the junior doctors, to take this scenario and journey with it throughout this period of your life. When you look at a tree in the field, just any random tree, we know the weather conditions, we know the changes in times and seasons. At times it is very stormy, at times the sun is so scorchy, and there are times there's drought, no water, there are times that there's too much water. But one thing the tree does is it stands its ground and it's able to journey across the changing times and seasons. That is what your experience is going to look like. It is not going to be rosy or true. You have your beautiful times, you have your very down times, you have your high times, you have your fun times. But just know that this journey that we are setting on is not a sprint, but a marathon. That is why I am grateful to God that this session has been organized just to orient you on this task. Continuing, some other conditions you would encounter on your path is what we call burnout. Burnout is a workplace stress that is not successfully managed. This means that there are stresses of the tree. So many things will hit you differently on your path. The ones you are able to successfully manage would contribute positively to your mental health. The problems that are not managed will translate into other things. And when burnout sets in, it comes with emotional exhaustion. It comes with detachment from yourself, or what we call depersonalization. And it leads to reduced accomplishment, meaning that the goals you have set for yourself, you may not necessarily be able to meet. What is happening is that your body is in so much stress, the job environment you are becomes so frustrating, and there is no energy for you to move and do anything that contributes positively to the job you are supposed to do. Macaron et al. Tells us that 1 in every 3 physicians experiences burnout. We about counted 50 plus people here. If you are saying 1 out of every 3, then it means if you count every 3, 1% should be having some burnout challenge, or will have some burnout challenge going forward. And so we need to be mindful of that. Now, what are some of the coping strategies that we can adapt readily for the burnout and then the stress that comes? We have micro breaks and breathing exercises. So the breathing exercises, there are several of them. There are several breathing techniques that we can employ. One of it is you breathe in, taking 4, you inhale gradually for 4 times. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, breathing in. Then you rest, counting 7 seconds, and you exhale in 8 seconds. The understanding is that if you're able to go through this exercise continuously, it is able to calm you down, bring you back to balance, bring you back to square one, bring you back to homeostasis, and then you can continue with life. Journeying with medical practitioners, one thing I've come to know about the profession is that sometimes doctors feel they are superhumans. And so they would want to either overwork, undereat, and so on and so forth. Sometimes it's through no fault of theirs. It's just an emergency after an emergency, and their body is always in the fight or flight. So more stress hormones, more adrenaline in the system. And so they keep going and going and going. In the end, they forget to do some of the very basic things that they need to keep their system functioning well, which includes sleep and food. In your house money year, there's going to be so much you'll come across. You have to do presentations, you'd have to mentor other people, you would have to report to supervisors, and some assignments you'll be assigned in addition to your hospital staff. And all these things are going to come at you so fast. And so you need to make time to eat, and you need to make time to sleep as well. The picture we see here is just a shot from this Marvel movie, The Thunderbolts. Yeah. Why did I put this picture there? I learned something significant from that movie. The movie brings about people who are thought to have failed in society. They are villains in society. Now, all these villains come together and they begin to tell each other their story. They were all sad people. But one thing I learned from the movie is that when they began talking to each other about their problems, there was this empathy that came out of it. And through the empathy, in the end, the guy who became the ultimate villain, Sentry, they were able to convince him to come out of his dark past, his darkness. It means that if you're able to bond with one another on that level, you're able to build deep connections. Sharing stress becomes very easy. And when you have a comfortable space to vent, you realize that the stress does not overwhelm you, the stress does not get the better of you, but you're always in control of the stress. So it is very important to build these peer connections, even as we set forth on this journey. There is also the use of mindfulness and prayer for grounding. When work gets overwhelming, like I said earlier, your body is on fight and flight. So there is more cortisol in your system. Now, one thing mindfulness does to us is that it slows down the rate of cortisol production. And when cortisol is a lot in your system, it affects your prefrontal cortex. So it slows down thinking, and it also makes it difficult for you to make reasonable decisions and good decisions. So when you take time to meditate, when you take time to pray, what happens is that you slow the production of cortisol. And so you have that free mental space to do other important things. Then comes self-awareness. All what you were saying with the tree diagram and everything is just to get us to know where we are. And then we know that we have made a transition from the classroom into the hospital setting. And these are some of the realities that are going to be for us. So having knowledge of what you are going into is also a strategy that can hold you firm when the storms begin to hit you. Now, safeguarding against depression. Depression is also common amongst mental aspects, as reported by Furiata and colleagues. It is also prudent that we acknowledge some of the signs of depression and then we seek early help. Now, what is the criteria for knowing you are clinically depressed? Depression is one word that has been used loosely and it is almost losing its relevance. But for somebody to be clinically depressed, the person has to show at least 5 of these signs that have been stated here. And there should be of note that the first two, either a depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasure, should be constant. So either of the first two plus any 4 can confirm a diagnosis of major depressive disorder. So we have depressed mood lasting for close to 2 weeks or more, loss of pleasure and interest or anhedonia. We have appetite or weight change. So here the person is either under eating or overeating just because of the situation or the overwhelming stress that is coming. There is sleep disturbance. It's either the person is oversleeping or undersleeping, or the person is unable to sleep or unable to stay awake. There is also fatigue or loss of energy. There's feeling of worthlessness or guilt. There is poor concentration. Then we have psychomotor changes. The person's reaction time the person becomes either overreactive or underreactive. So the person is not able to talk like the person is supposed to. There's slowness in speech, or there is so much speed in the speech. And also there is suicidal thoughts, which is one of the factors we rule out early in the diagnosis of major depressive disorder. And this comes as a result of the fact that somebody is feeling worthless, the person is feeling hopeless. And so the next thing they think about is, let me just end it all because life becomes unbearable at this point. Now, I just wanted us to get a distinction between burnout and depression. So with a scope, burnout is the first and then depression is to the other side. So I'm just going to touch on a few things here. So in general, burnout is specific to a job setting or it deals with a specific stressor, whereas depression deals with your overall life, so life in general. So the scope tells us it is tied to a specific stressor like work, parenting, or caregiving. So in our discussion, burnout will be a result of our workmanship or our housemanship, sorry. So that is what is going to be the principal cause of burnout for us. And then when these chronic external the stresses are gone, when you take away whatever is causing the stress in the work environment, burnout automatically goes away. So it says that recovery often involves addressing the stresses. So for example, if the housemanship is causing you a lot of stress and you take a trip to Dubai or maybe Zanzibar, you realize that when you come back, you are renewed and you are refreshed and you can go again. But when you go to depression, you don't just take a trip and come back and then you are done with depression. You need to go get a therapist, you need some medication sometimes, and then you need to commit to some lifestyle changes. So there is lack of energy or motivation for specific tasks related to the stressor. So in the case of burnout, you may not want to go to work because work is stressing you out too much beyond your energy. But in depression, the general lack of motivation or interest covers everything you do in your life. You can't do hobbies, you can't go to work, you can't go to church. Everything in your life is compromised. So the last thing I'll touch on is the causes. So aside the external stresses that are overwhelming, when you go to depression, it has a combination of genetic, psychological, and environmental factors. So just to give us some understanding on the difference between the two. Now, how do we sustain wellness over this 2-year period? I know my time is almost done, but I'll just wrap up quickly so we can have some questions. We need to balance physical, emotional, and social health. Now, when we look at the diagram here, it says work-life balance. So to my left, I see job and I see life balancing. So normally when we talk about work-life balance, that is what comes into our minds. But the reality is that even in the job, there are things you need to balance. And in life, there are other things you need to balance. This tells us that the human being is multifaceted. And so our stresses come from different dimensions. And so we need to also be self-aware of this one. We need to maintain hobbies, have some hobbies, because when you are doing your hobbies, it takes your mind off the stresses that you are dealing with that may contribute negatively to your mental health. So it gives you like a free space. It gives you it gives you a place to free yourself, a place to recharge yourself, and so on and so forth. The same thing comes from faith as well. When you practice faith and you are praying, obviously it takes your mind off a lot of things. And the people who are very spiritual, I know they are very spiritual people here, who believe that when they give all their challenges to God, they feel so good about it. And so faith has been proven to be one of the social supports that holds people. A study was published, and then it was to an end that there are so many suicide attempts in the West as compared to Africa, because Africa is more religious now than the West. And people who give their issues to God tend to find a certain coping mechanism to live with the hardships of life, no matter how difficult it is. And also friendship. So I use the analogy of the thunderbolts to explain what good friendship can and peer connection can do to help your mental states. We also have engaging in reflection and journaling. This is also another good distraction. Writing down your stresses. As you write about it, you think through it, and sometimes as you are reflecting, you get new ways of doing the same thing, and then it helps you a lot. And as young doctors, we need to be asking for feedback and not perfection. We need to seek feedback and not perfection. So building a supporting network, what can we do about a supportive network? We need a mentorship program. So this is also very important, and it's a step in the right direction. I went through the program outline, and I see that every discussion that has been scheduled to take place is just so beautiful and perfect to help your overall growth, your mental health, especially because everything that has been scheduled is just to give you a ground and give you insight into what you are going to do. So the mentorship programs are very, very important, and we thank this team for this great intervention that they have brought. Debriefing after critical incidents, trying to build that relationship between yourself and your supervisors. It is very, very important, because if you're able to bond well with your supervisor, it means you're going to have a beautiful life in practice. If your supervisor and yourself are not bonding well, then it means you're going to have a chaotic housemanship. Now, there is also the need to seek professional help. This is another issue I have with doctors. Doctors would not want to seek help, even if they are going through help. So where I am, like my hospital, some of the doctors, before they come for therapy, they will just wait. When everybody has gone home, that is when the doctor would come and seek help. I don't know why that is done. Maybe somebody can explain to me when it's time for questions and answers, but don't be scared to seek help. It is your right. It is your right. You also need to seek help. We know you are our heroes, but sometimes even the heroes, I think in Justice League, there was a point where Superman died and they had to bring him back. So even if Superman can die, then it means that our doctors need to take some time off to also take care of their mental health. Very, very, very important. So to wrap up everything, I don't lie. I like to just give us just takeaways, right? Mental health is professional strength, not weakness. So it tells us that mental health as professional strength means that we should prioritize mental well-being as a sign of courage, self-awareness, and resilience, and enhance our abilities at work. Because when we do that, our abilities are going to be enhanced. And this is also in contrast to the popular notion that stigma has won the battle. And so if you go and seek your mental health, the good of your mental health, or if you go and seek what makes your mental health thrive, you're a weak person. No, that is not true. We are done with that issue. We have broken the silence, and then now we are doing very well for ourselves and everybody we encounter in our world. So we need to also push this narrative into the medical field, get the doctors to know that mental health is also important for them. Because when your mind is healthy, everything you do will flow and flow well. Burnout and depression are very common, especially in this line of work, but they are also preventable. When you are noticing some of the signs we stated earlier, please talk to somebody about it. It can be a peer, it can be a mentor, it can be a supervisor. And if it needs a professional, don't hesitate to reach out to a psychologist or a counselor, and then they will help you navigate that one. Now, balance is very key to all of this. And if you are able to balance, endurance is going to be your friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, this will be my last words for all of us. And I wish us all the best as we take this very bold step on our journey as junior doctors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stanislaus, for a very wonderful presentation. I know we have a lot of questions, but before that, I would like to invite Dr. Kathleen Agri, the CEO of Student Med Store Ghana, our sponsor, to give us a few words.
Hello, and hi. Can everyone hear me, please?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I'm attempting to share my screen. Don't know. You let me know if I go out of the presentation. All right. Are we out of the presentation mode?
I think we have your screen now. We see your screen.
Okay, you have the screen now. Okay.
Yes.
So I'll make it a brief one. As already mentioned, my name is Dr. Kathleen. I'm an emergency medicine resident in training. And good evening to your audience, and congratulations to all who are on their way to the amazing journey of being house officers. I'm here on behalf of Path Medical Store. That's the parent company of Student Medical Store, popularly known as SMSG. And we're Ghana's first e-commerce medical supply store dedicated to healthcare workers and students as well. We are truly honored to be a part of this summit, and because we believe that the journey from classroom to clinic deserves every support. And I mean, having been a medical student as well, I did understand the need for this. Okay, so briefly on who we are. As I said, Student Medical Store is the brand name. The parent company is Path Medical Store Limited, and founded by a medical doctor. That's me, of course. I usually like to take the opportunity to be the first contact for these things. And I just truly understood. I was coming from a place where I truly understood firsthand the challenges in finding affordable and high and quality medical apparel. So our mission is simple. We want to be there. We want to make these supplies for school, for hospital, like for clinic. So basically geared more towards you than your patients. We want to make it accessible. We want to make sure that you trust where it's coming from. And obviously, some of our products are also locally made. So we supply, so far we're trusted by University of Ghana Medical School. We have collaborations with Family Health University College as well as Accra College. We also serve hospitals as well. So Rich Medical is one of our Sonotech as well as Deng Pharma. And so we go beyond the schools as well. And we served over 2,000 customers nationwide, and we're still counting. And we operate primarily through our website, which we'll look at, and we provide nationwide delivery. So no matter where you're going to be put as house officers, junior or senior, remote or not, we have a way to get you your supplies. We do that too through partnerships, which I'll come and talk about later. And this is basically just a collage of some of the doctors. This is, I don't know if my cursor can be seen, but on the top left corner, that was Sonotech. We partnered with them for their Pink October last year, and we still do this year. So you'd find that their CEO, Dr. Bachman, was in our scrubs. This is some medical doctors in their various areas of work. This is Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. We partnered with them as well. They had a team, NGO, coming in from Czech Republic. And then these are students on the lower left, students from Family Health, all of them downed in lab coats, all right? These are just pictures of some pop-up stands. So being an e-commerce store in Africa, we understand that there's some skepticism, especially with scamming online and things like that. So from time to time, we partake in pop-up stores. Pop-up stores, pop-up stands in various hospitals, Kolebu being one of them, Family Health. We've been to KNUST as well. And these are just more collages of products. We offer the embroidery as well. So from the comfort of your home, you don't need to order a lab coat and then find out you don't know where you're going to get it personalized. We offer that service and product on our website as well. So why would you shop with us? Like we said, we're a registered company. There's a parent company, and then there's the brand Student Medical Store. We're registered in Ghana, and this is our registration number. We have readily available products. This is not, we are now going to sew it and things. Our lab coats, every item that you see is readily available here, including stethoscopes. We only deal with originals. And when it comes to the stethoscope, we understand that because of how pricey the dollar exchange is, people tend to, the generic and the fake Litmans have come to take up space. But we don't deal with that. We just deal with originals. So if you are willing to spend good, get your money's worth when it comes to your stethoscope, which is definitely one of the tools you use for life. I've been using my original one since level 300, and I only topped up to a cardiology for when I started residency. But if you're someone that doesn't want to compromise on value and you really want the originals, we deal with only Litman authorized dealers in the US. And so our Litman stethoscopes are verifiable, as well as other original brands of items. We have a live chat customer service. We have customer service personnel to help you while you're on the site, because we know that it's difficult to navigate these things. Following when you place your order, you definitely would receive order confirmation emails as well, not just a text message. We give updates on any orders that are made, and we do have an active refund and return policy, unlike some online stores where it's you bought it, you are gone. Even physical stores, some people say, you've taken it, we can't return. We have conditions and terms, but we do have a return and refund policy. We undergo collaboration and sponsorship, again, just like this, to solidify what we are and let people know that we're here to stay. And we offer free delivery. We've been doing that since inception on orders above 600 Ghana cedis. We are known and we are registered we have registered partnerships. Okay, so we have that with Paystack, and they are the ones who provide us, as you see at the top right corner, they provide us a payment platform on our website. So you're not paying into somebody's mobile money bank account and the person is turning it off. Because of that, we don't accept orders through any other route. Our customer service are always saying you have to place your order through the website for accountability and transparency. So when you do that, Paystack receives the money and keeps it in holding until the order is delivered. Paystack is the same one that is the same platform that a lot of your favorite restaurants, a lot of your MSSI and CPD programs are going to be. Your CPD programs from MSSI as well as MDC are sometimes powered with Paystack. They are a registered financial company in Ghana, and they run just like a bank. And they have done the due diligence for you by requesting certain documents from us that make us seem legitimate to do this work with. So you are working with people that have done the legitimate background check for you. We have partnerships with BYB Logistics, and they do the delivery within Accra. And so they offer it at a rate of 35 Ghana cedis, irrespective of your location. Kaswa is 35, as well as Sakumono. We have a partnership with FedEx for a nationwide delivery at a flat rate of 50 Ghana cedis. I don't know which other medical supply store currently does that, but we do that with FedEx because we've had a long-standing relationship. So it's pegged at 50 Ghana cedis. And again, working with these people, there's some accountability and insurance for any of the packages they pick up from us. This is them at our company coming to pick up our packages, all right? So because we have partnerships with Paystack, all forms of mobile money options that Paystack offers is available, from credit cards, mobile money, Apple Pay, as well as bank transfers. Okay, so how to place the order is quite simple. You visit our website at www.studentmedicalstore. gh.com. You simply browse or search the products that you want. And when you found them, you look at the variants that apply. If it's a scrub that you have a particular color you look them up. The size charts are available on this, just like you would order on Amazon. Okay. And then you proceed to checkout. You provide your delivery address. You pay online, and then you receive your order. Okay. So this is just what that looks like, a brief look at what that is. So you can simply search Pen Touch and that product comes up. Now we have different colors. So in this case, we're choosing Lake Pink. We click and add that to carts. Okay, maybe I'm not done buying. I want to buy a scrub set. I search scrub sets. That comes. I check the size chart, see what I match up to, and then decide on the size and then the color I want. Okay, when I'm done with that, I simply again add it to cart, just like I'm walking through a shopping mall. When I'm through with that, I click checkout, and this is the checkout page. You provide your email, like I'm about to do. You give your name, details, address, that's the delivery information. Some people might use their hospital as their delivery location. You provide a phone number, an active phone number, and then right there you would see how much the flat rates we spoke about. So within Accra and outside Accra. When you're ready, you click Pay Now, and these are the options Paystack loads up. So these are the options available to you. So before we conclude, just some frequently asked questions. Again, frequently asked questions are also available on our website as well. Most people say, how do I know a product is in stock? It's as easy. You don't need to DM for price. You don't need to DM to know if it's available. If an item is available, it is there as it is. You'd see that when we were at the scrap page, even though it was moving fast, you saw that when I chose large, navy blue was slashed out. When you click that, you'd see sold out written on it, and then you know a product is not available. Usually there's a pop-up that comes that after 5 seconds of being on a page, that if you think an item is sold out and you want to be updated, you just simply fill that form, and one of our customer service personnel would receive it and let you know, update you as soon as we restock. Most times restocks are usually on a bi-weekly or weekly basis. So what you didn't get today, you might get next week. All right. So how long does it take to get delivered? It's usually highlighted at checkout. Within Accra, it's 1 to 2 business days. By that, I mean, if you placed your order yesterday, you'd get it today, but not later than Friday. If you're outside Accra, irrespective of your location, again, we work with FedEx. So that's 3 to 4 business days. So you place your order on Wednesday, by Monday, you should get your items. It might be earlier. Most times, the closer regions to the southern belt get them earlier, and then those, say in Takrady. I mean, we've gone as far as Zebila. No matter where you are, you literally find yourself. We have a way of getting it. We still have a partnership with Ghana Post, and there's a post office in every single district. So no matter if you are in Zebila, there was a customer that ordered at Tebubu and Zebila that we use Ghana Post for, and there's always a post office. So EMS will bring it to you. All right. And then we offer discounts on bulk order that you would have to text our customer service for. But the discount that everybody is entitled to is the free delivery above 600. That is automated. The moment your order value is at 600, the system will automatically offer you the free delivery. And like I said, we do offer embroidery services. So even if you find yourself in Kolimbu or Atebubu or Takwa or Pisti, and you're not sure where you're going to do your embroidery at, the product is listed on the website. You just simply have to search embroidery. The details of how you want us to embroider your apparel are available. And yes, please, the embroidery service is only available to apparel that are purchased from our sites. We don't do external embroidery services. If you are interested in being a brand ambassador, I know social media has become a vast place to meet customers and meet new personalities. I enjoy it sometimes when my marketing team sends me probable and people to partner with in terms of brand ambassadors. So if you're looking to be a brand ambassador for Student Medical Store, SMSG, definitely after this, we'll leave our contact for you to reach out to us. Okay. Again, we deal with students, we deal with healthcare professionals, and so we have a clearance page. 1 or 2 twice when an item does not meet, all our scraps go through a rigorous quality assurance process. So we have QA officers at our apparel stands, at our apparel production house. If they don't meet certain standards, or in terms of measurements, they are deemed clearance. Usually there's nothing really wrong with them, but because they are not up to standard. in terms of design, in terms of measurements, we put them into clearance. And the clearance page is also available on our website. Prices for clearance can go as low as 30 cedis to about 140 cedis. So the defects, anything, usually are no defects, but anything to do with the clearance item is listed when you click the product. And so this is usually how it appears when you go to the clearance page. So you could see that this whole scrap set is 120 cedis. This trousers alone is 70 cedis. We have a range of items on sale at our clearance section. So you can definitely explore that as well. And then finally, this is my last page. We do hope that we stay connected. We do hope to receive your orders. We are definitely looking forward to serving you. If at all you want to reach out to us, we have customer service personnel on that run shifts on live on our website, but you can also reach out to another customer service personnel on our various social media. That's Student Med Store for X, sorry, not Twitter, X and Instagram, as well as TikTok as well as the same Student Med Store. You can call us on 020-897-0028, and you can email us as well at the email provided. We do have a free delivery app for this program alone. It lasts from today to Friday, and that's free JHO Summit. And that gives you free delivery on any order value, so not just 600. So if you think you've probably seen us, you probably want to encounter us, please definitely scan this, keep our website on, and then you can use this code at checkout to enjoy free delivery. Thank you so much. I know I've had to rush through it. I hope I was able to share as much as and get as much as out there as possible. And I think that would be the end of my slide.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kathleen.
Thank you too.
Now we'll open the floor for any questions for our previous speaker. If you have any questions concerning mental health and well-being in housemanship, kindly raise your hand and our speaker will address you. If there are no questions, then we'll be moving on to our next session. We are going to have a panel discussion. We are going to be discussing what I wish I knew before starting housemanship. Our panelists are Dr. Patrick McCaffrey and Dr. Julia Ameoba. Dr. Patrick McCaffrey is a dynamic and visionary young leader driven by a deep commitment to servant leadership, transformative impact, and community empowerment. With a passion rooted in global health policy, governance, and social entrepreneurship, he is steadily shaping a career at the intersection of medicine, politics, and advocacy. Dr. McCaffrey's influence in student leadership saw him serve as the General Secretary of the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Association, where he played a pivotal role in coordinating medical students' activities and promoting health advocacy. Currently, he is the president of Junior House Officers at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and a national representative of the Coalition of Junior House Officers Ghana. He is also the head of media and publicity for the Junior Doctors Association Accra chapter. His leadership extends into the non-profit space as the founder of the Scintilla Foundation Ghana, where he has led impactful projects from mobilizing desks for underserved schools to supporting orphanages and organizing academic support for medical students. Dr. Makafui serves as a dedicated member of the National Democratic Congress Greater Accra Communications Team. His involvement in national politics is a natural extension of his deep-seated belief in participatory governance, social justice, and people-centered leadership. Grounded in humility and driven by a desire to uplift others, Dr. Makafui is not only a promising medical professional, but also a rising change maker committed to building a healthier, more equitable world. Dr. Julia Amealba is a first-year dental surgery house officer at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, RAGE. She holds a bachelor's in human biology and a bachelor of dental surgery from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, where she served in numerous leadership roles. Currently, she also serves as the policy and advocacy officer at Teen Health Ghana, where she leads initiatives that promote adolescent health and equitable access to care. Her work focuses on advocating for the prioritization of the health needs of young people and a focus on underrepresented groups. House, with a show of emojis, help me welcome our panelists. Dr. Patrick Makafui and Dr. Julia Mayelba, please, we are waiting for you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. A big congratulations to our freshest doctors, our freshest graduates from the various schools of medicine and dentistry across the country. Well, yeah. As was said earlier, I'm Dr. Julia Amealban. I'm a first-year house officer at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, and I'm just here to share something. Our segment is titled "Things I Wish I Knew Before Starting House Job," but to me, the title is "Things We Wish We Knew Before Starting House Job," because I did not just prepare for this panel with just my experience, but I went into the DMs of several of my colleagues, asking them things they wish they knew before house job. So I'm not just bringing my experience or things I wish I knew, but things my colleagues and I wish we knew before starting house job. And please feel free to ask questions as I go on.
So I'm a dental surgeon. I'm a dental surgery house officer. And the first thing that I'll say is that for us, when you are in final year, you do a lot of work under supervision, of course. You work on a lot of patients in order to be able to graduate, in order to be able to sign all your logbooks. It's stressful. But I realized that that was just the tip of the iceberg, really. Because since it is assumed as a dental surgeon, when you start, it is assumed that you've already done an amount of work before you started your housemanship. And so it's assumed that you should be able to handle a lot of cases. Not like you should be able to hold your thoughts when it comes to dealing with cases that comes to the clinic. And so what I would say, the first thing that I would say is that you're a bit on your own. Well, not really on your own, because you always have superiors that you defer to and that you consult before you do a particular procedure in the clinic. But then you are on your own because at this point, you are not just treating a patient as a student. You are not treating a patient as a student anymore, but as a doctor. You are using your license to treat a patient. You are under someone. You're using your provisional license to treat a patient. You're under someone, but then you're also acting as a doctor in your own right. And so the first thing that I would say is that it's important to have confidence. And this point applies to those in the medical field as well. It's very, very important to have confidence, because when a patient comes to your clinic or your consulting room, or when you go to the ward to see a patient, to the patient, you are his or her doctor. You are his or her doctor, and they expect you to know what you are doing. They don't, to you, you think, oh, I'm just a house officer. I started house job some 6 months ago, sometimes even a month ago. No, I think for those that started in December, that would be like, yes, I got inducted a month ago. I got inducted 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago. But then to the patient, you are his or her doctor. You should know what you are doing. And so you should have confidence in yourself, in your abilities, and you should have confidence that whatever that you learned in school is enough to give you a foundation. And I realized that as a first year house officer, you can't really have confidence if you don't have the backing of your superiors. So one thing that I'll say is that you should do everything in consultation with your superior. Some things might be small, but then, especially for my field, when you see a patient and, oh, the patient comes to the clinic and then you, with toothache, so you take an X-ray, with some toothache, you take an X-ray, it's in the pulp. That means the patient says, I can't afford root canal. I'll go in for an extraction. I want to take out the tooth. And so, well, we took out a lot of teeth in dental school. And I think for KNUST, the minimum was 25. So you might feel like you'll be able, of course, you should be able to do it, but it's important to do it in consultation with your bosses. No matter how small or how small the case might be, you should be able to handle it on your own. And so that's the first point. And one thing that we realized was that the salary issues that people talk about is not just a story. It's very, very real. And there's no fixed timeline, because for my batch, we were told, oh, the salary by March, April, you should be getting your clearance. You should be psyching yourself up. But then I think it got to like June before we started receiving clearance. So yeah, that's one thing I wish I knew, and that we all wish we knew before we started house show.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Julia Mayo. So I would ask you a few questions and you can Is Dr. Patrick with us? Dr.
Yeah,
Mayor.
yeah.
Sorry. In your own words, I want you to answer who is a house officer and what role do they play in the hospital system?
So, in my own words, a house officer is honestly most likely to be the first person someone might meet when they step into the consult room or the clinic. The house officer is the first person that they might have to go through. And the house officer is also, as in other jurisdictions, I think an intern. And so the house officer is still under training in a way, but also is seen to be fit to be able to handle cases before passing it on to their superiors. And so to me, that's who a house officer is in my own words.
All right, thank you very much. What are the key expectations supervisors and consultants have of us as house officers?
All right. So before I started house job, I thought when I started, I thought the expectation was to know a lot about the case and then what should be done for the patient, how to manage this condition, how to treat this condition. I mean, it's also very, very important. But one thing that my boss said once was that we don't expect you to know a lot about how you are going to go about treating. You are supposed to know, but you're not supposed to. You shouldn't worry yourself much if you've not, if you haven't gotten there yet. The main expectation is to be able to do the basics, take a very, very good history, do a very good examination, know the kinds of investigations to go for, know the kinds of emergency care that you have to administer if it comes to it. Have an idea of the treatment and then how it's going to be managed. But then the focus as a house officer to me is on good history, great history, great examination, because you will be working with a team and they will help you with the rest. But if you don't take a good history and you are not great at the basics, you will not be able to go higher into becoming good at the management and then the treatment. Thank you.
Thank you too. Now for Dr. McAfee, I want to ask, how do you prioritize tasks when you have multiple patients or calls at the same time?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, yeah, for the opportunity. And then congratulations to all newly graduated doctors. You deserve it. You've talked for it, and it's your time to really shine. So before I attempt the question, I want you guys to understand that when you come out of medical school fresh, there is that anxiety when you see your immediate seniors who are doing house job. You're like, wow, so he's a doctor. How is he able to manage the cases? Like he's a doctor. You have that anxiety, right? You're like, okay, so can I do it when I'm in the hospital and the patient comes? What will I do? We've all been there. And then the fact is that you can do it and it's not beyond you because we've been through the same medical school that you have also graduated. So if you are doing it, if we are doing it, you can also do it. Like Julia was saying, house job is such that you are actually like or rich. Those are high stake cases you are seeing, high profile cases. So the burden of knowledge and decision making is not on you. You are just you're literally there to go and call your resident. Resident says set a line, you set a line, prescribe normal saline, you prescribe, right? So for your first, I'm not hard on you. It is as you settle into the house job, then they expect you to pick up certain things. So the things you've been rattling in school, call for help, set to, like, real life scenario, person has come bleeding, you execute it. So get over the anxiety, get over the nerve-wracking moments, and just know that when you start fresh, nobody's hard on you, you settle in. Now, to the question on the ward, right? The residents, like your superiors, they are not there. Like, you are the only doctor on the ward. So a nurse or a midwife can be practicing 30 years before you. When they started working, you were even like in JHS, in SHS. But when you're doing house job, you are the one that will come and call, doc, we have a case. Every patient, you are their doctor. And so that's where the confidence comes in. You don't have to panic. And then you have to know that it is a professional environment. So you also don't have to make yourself look incompetent. So if you are called by a nurse, and the nurses, they can easily kill your confidence. Doctor, the patient is bleeding. What do we do? You know that your job description, you're supposed to inform your boss. So see yourself as that doctor. Let the patient, let the nurse know that, okay, I've heard you. I'm coming. In the meantime, I'm going to inform my boss. And then when I did, so you don't tell them that, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't make the decisions. It's a health thing. I'm going to discuss with my team and I'll get back to you with a decision. Simple as that. Because even your residents, your consultants, they discuss with other people before they arrive at a conclusion. So I just want you guys to not be nervous and just chill at home. House job, you do it. So when you have multiple cases, so usually personally what I do or what you should do is that on the average you have about, depending on the rotation you are doing, you have 5-10 patients, and each of them have what we call to-dos. So somebody, you have to request a lab for them, somebody you have to set a line, you have to do several things for them. So either you use your tablet, your phone, your laptop, or your paper. Paper works best for me. So patients are on beds. The beds have numbers. So if you can't even write their names, their ages, bed 1, what am I to do for bed 1? A, B, C, bed 2, bed 3. So when you have it like that, it's in order. Then you, at your own pace, after you've written everything, now because your boss will just come and give the instructions, sometimes in a rush. But when you organize it like that, bed 1, bed 2, bed 3, then you catch a breather. Okay, so now bed 1, I'm supposed to give you this prescription, then you do it. So you can even go and pack all of them. So because you've written everybody's plan, we call it plan, what you do for every patient, you've written it down, and you can go and pick the request from the lab request, the prescription part, the radiological request. Then you go and sit at your doctor's station. Okay, so bed 1, I'm giving you paracetamol. Bed 2, go and do full blood count. Bed 3. And always be cognizant of the fact that, you see, the nurses, they are not as knowledgeable as you are when it comes to medical practice. It is not because they are not intelligent. It is not their job description. So things that they will panic and they'll give you pressure, you should be calm. So they can come and call you 5 times. Doctor, the patient needs paracetamol, give it to us, give it to us. Just tell them, I'm coming, I'm writing it, I'll bring it to you when I'm done. So you take that pressure off yourself. Then you relax at the doctor's station. You've already written your plan for every bed, you execute it. Then you go back. So, Madam Alice, this is your prescription. Madam X, Madam Y, this is your lab request. Then you are done. So that way you don't lose track of anything. You don't panic. You're not there, and then you're like, oh my God, this patient, I've forgotten what to do for the patient. So either it's your notepad or your physical paper that you write on it, document what you're supposed to write for, what you're supposed to do for every patient. That way to be clearer to you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. McAfee. So I have another question. What's one practical tip for staying organized on the ward? I think you've answered a part of this question by telling us to get a list of each patient and write the to-dos down. But is there any other practical tip for staying organized on the ward?
Yeah. So another thing is that, ideally you are running a shift. So you have a time where your shift starts and when it ends. So for your own comfort, so for example, if tomorrow is Friday, my shift starts at 8 a.m. My own comfort, I would go ahead at 7:30 or 7 a.m. Go and review the patient by myself. So today, this is what your vitals are looking like. This is your HB. This is what I'm supposed to do for you. So when you go ahead, you're able to organize your thoughts and you know the patient in and out very well. So you have that time, that confidence to familiarize yourself with them. So that when your bosses come, because they are coming in a rush, because they have other things to go and do, you don't feel the pressure. So you are even the one informing them that, oh, this case I've seen here this month, this is a condition. This one, this is a condition, this one is a condition. Then they'll tell you, okay, do this, do that, do that. That also takes some pressure off you. So aside writing everything, documenting everything nicely, going ahead of time to familiarize yourself the day, like few hours or few minutes before general rounds also helps.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mayel, I want to ask, what are some common mistakes new house officers make with salary processing?
Thank you. So I think the first, as I said earlier, the first mistake that new house officers may make when doing the salary processing, salary processing is underestimate the amount of documents needed. I think that's a common mistake because I think all of the documents, it's actually quite a tall list. It was like 8 documents, and then we had to make photocopies of 4 for each or something like that. And before the list was sent, I think 2 days in advance. I saw it, and honestly, it didn't seem like a huge deal. But then I went to and then they told us we needed 4 each. So I went to the printing place. I printed out what I could. I tried to print it, and then I went to where the collection of documents was taking place. And that was when I realized the importance of actually taking your time to get each document and to print out each document. Because when HR is taking the document, and I think with time, Medtransitions will help you know the kinds of documents that you need. As HR is taking the documents, all the house officers are in the same space. Everybody is working on theirs. And it's quite a quick process because the HR reps will do their best to help everyone else, but they can't possibly do the best that you think they can do. And so you have all these house officers in one space, everyone sorting out their documents, and HR is collecting them that afternoon. You have to sort them out into I think groups of 4, and then you have to fill some pink sheets. It was actually a roller coaster that afternoon, and then you realize, oh, for the appointment letter, you printed out just 3 instead of 4. They are not going to collect it. You have to go back and then print what you are missing. And so I think for the salary processing, very, very important to take the document printing seriously. Even if you think it's not necessary, just print all of them out. The bank statement, the SNIT number. Make sure that you have especially with the banks. As students, some of us, we don't really use banks that much. And so not all of us were well conversant with the banking process, right? And then you want this bank statement, and a colleague of mine wanted his bank statement. I think he was having trouble with the bank sending it because of the balance or something like that, and that delayed him, so he couldn't submit everything that day. And so it's important to know the documents ahead of time so that you plan ahead. So that's one thing that I would say concerning a common mistake that you might make when filling out the forms and then also submitting your documents. So it's important to be very meticulous because even if you miss one information, they will use that as an excuse not to process your salary, and you will waste your time. You have to be going back and forth. And so it's very, very important that you are meticulous when filling out the documents, when submitting the documents as well, so that they process your salary. And I also think one thing is that the bank that you use is very, very important. It's very important. I think some may say it's not important. It's not, but to me, I think it's very important. I think it's better to use banks that are ready to assist, banks that have good customer service, and banks that you get your salary early. Because I think our salary started coming in, I think 2 months ago. And then to prevent headache, just choose a bank that is known or something, because they will send to me. I use GTB, so I didn't really have a lot of headaches when it came to me collecting my salary early. But then they will send GCB has received, ABSA has received, and then your bank, you've not received. And that might cause you a whole lot of stress, especially a whole lot of worry, especially if your case is like ours where we hadn't received salaries for quite a while. So the bank is important, the customer service is important, and know that the bank that you choose is where they are going to send your salary for your whole work life. Unless, of course, you choose to change. But what I've heard is that when you are changing the bank, that's also another whole wahala. You know how Ghana can be quite bureaucratic when it comes to changing this stuff. So make sure that you choose a very, very good bank so that you don't make any mistakes. When you are filling the form, filling out your bank details, fill everything out very well to avoid any headaches, because salary issues are already a headache. Try as much as possible not to aggravate your headache by doing things that can be avoided. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ba. Before we move on to the next question, I would want, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box so that after this session, we can address them. So, Dr. Ba, how long does it usually take to start receiving pay, and how can you avoid unnecessary delay? I think you mentioned making sure that you have all the necessary documents, but aside the documents, is there any other thing we should make sure we do or not do to ensure we receive our pays early?
Okay, so apart from the documents, well, honestly, to me, I think it all comes down to the documents. But make sure that you are in the know for whatever that is happening in your facility. Usually, you have a WhatsApp platform where a rep will put out information that do this, submit this, so that you go for your appointment letter, the clearance is in, but this, make sure that you are really in the know, and make sure that you move along with your people, because they process everything in batches. And so if you don't submit early, or you don't receive a certain information early, no one is going to really wait for you. They will just HR, they are great people, but sometimes they have a lot to do as well. So make sure that you just go along, in everything else, go along with your colleagues, move along with them. If they are submitting the document, submit. If they are printing out, this print. If you see an information on on the group chat, follow those steps. Just do all that. It's actually very, very easy for you to get everything right when it comes to these kind of things. If you make sure that you move along with your people, you move along with your colleagues, and then you stay in the know when it comes to information. As is always said, information is power. So just have the information to avoid stress. Thank you. And also,
Thank
I
you
think you
very
asked about, sorry, you asked about the amount of time it takes to get your salary. And so for that one,
Yes,
honestly, before I started house job, as I said earlier, I thought, oh, I know I'm going to rage. Rage, they won't receive you if you don't have clearance. So I know clearance usually comes, I think for the year before, it was like late February, early March. So quite by end of March, I'd have gotten clearance, I would have started house job. But then I think for this year, for many reasons that we all know, we got our clearance in June. And then that delayed some people, and that delayed salaries for all of us. And so I can't really say for a fact when you're going to receive your salary. It's up to the whims and caprices of whichever people are in charge. And the money available. So it's not really about that. Just know that, just put it inside your head, just psych yourself that the salary thing is not, it's not something that you can determine and that you can plan around. Don't do that. You just end up causing more stress for yourself. So plan ahead when it comes to salaries. If you have very supportive parents, anyone or supportive family members, any family member that is supportive, just let them know ahead of time that, oh, when we start house job, we won't receive salaries immediately. It takes a while. And so I will need help. Just let them know. And just psych yourself up for it too. Know that the salary, it might not come soon, it might come soon. Really depends. So just make sure that you are mentally prepared for it and financially prepared if you can. Inform your family members, your parents, your elderly siblings, uncles, anyone that is in your support system, just inform them so that they are aware of it, so that it won't be like you are worrying them when for money when your salary hasn't started coming. They now that they will know that, oh, you've not received your salary yet, right? So like how much should I send? Those things. So I think it's very, very important that you just put in your head that the salary won't come now and just work around it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ba. Dr. McAfee, please answer this question. What exactly, I want to talk about the House Officers Logbook. What exactly it is and how often it should be updated.
All right, thank you. So the concept of logbook is not necessarily new to you as new medical graduate, because even as medical students in clinical year, you had logbooks. And the purpose then is the same purpose now, where in medical school it was for attendance and counted towards you finishing the school, writing exam. There was a certain percentage you ought to have met. So it's the same thing. So the house job, it's actually something you have to take very seriously, because it's both for your own career progression, like it's your profession. It's also a requirement. So when you're a house officer, you do not have a permanent license to practice in Ghana as a doctor. So the license you have, the one they will give it to you at induction, is a provisional license. You are practicing under supervision. So the 2 years house job period is actually a legal requirement in Ghana if you must practice subsequently as a doctor. And the logbook is the evidence to that effect, that you have truly done your house job and that you have the basic competence and the knowledge required to practice in Ghana. So that's why there are rotations assigned. So the logbook, it's evidence that you have done your surgical rotations and your internal medicine. You have options to choose which you want to do. There are some that also mandatory you must do. So, and then there are cases you're supposed to have seen. So, for example, you cannot be a doctor in Ghana and you don't know how to manage malaria. So, the logbook is where you document. So, and the house job is such that the Medical and Dental Council is the regulator, right? They are giving you the license to go and practice. And then they are assigning you to facilities. So, though you may be a house officer at Kolebo or Komfanoche, you are there under the name of Medical and Dental Council. And because Medical and Dental Council, they are not there directly on the ground, so watching you, the logbook is the evidence that you have done your house job, the facility you have been posted to, and you have seen and managed the number of cases you ought to have managed. So the logbook is there. So every month, there are spaces. Well, how many cases have you seen? You've seen malaria, you've seen diarrhea, you've seen typhoid. What was the patient's folder number to show that you've not sat somewhere and you have the thing? So you must be a real patient's number. So this case that you have seen, how was it managed? So you're going to indicate the case you've seen, the date you saw the case, and then the diagnosis for that case. Then your superior, the person you are under, your consultant in your team, they will sign. Just like in medical school, they will sign in. But the new addition is that in your logbook, they will indicate your involvement in the management of that case. So if we're just lazying around, it is a grade from 1 to 5. So poor, good, excellent, very good. Exactly. So your boss will indicate how involved you've been in that case, whether you did excellent or poor. and there is a minimum percentage you must have met at the end of your house job. So it's not just like a merry-go-round, or it's not a free pass that you've done house job and then you're going to do your MO ship. MO is like medical officer after house job, and then you're becoming a full doctor in Ghana. No. After the house job, you submit your logbook to the American Dental Council. They will count the number of cases you have seen, your involvement in it, which is a score. So the score that you're scoring, you, that 1 is very poor, 2 is poor, 3 is good, 4 is excellent, like that. They'll count that score. If you've not met a certain percentage, I think it's around 70 or 80%. If you've not met it, MDC has the power to direct you, command you, instruct you to retake your house job. So house job is not an automatic 2 years. If after the 2 years, they are not satisfied with your competence, that you've not met the requirements, the score you're supposed to have met, they will ask you to continue. And it's not news, like it's not something that has not happened before. There are people that have done their house job for like 2 years and 6 months, because you are done with your house job and they say they are not satisfied with your score. So you've not met the basic requirements, go back and do it for extra 2 months, extra 3 months. And until you complete it, you don't have the permanent license to practice in Ghana. And if you also want to skip it, for example, you want to write USMLE and go, parts of that validation process, you even write USMLE, like the school you are going to. They also write back to your regulator that, are you qualified in your own country? So it boils down to MDC. So it's something you take very serious. And that is why I also chip in that do not get overly familiar with your bosses. So maybe you are laughing around with your bosses and everybody thinks you are not serious with your job. And it's like that. But when it comes to scoring you, and they take that notion and they score you very low, in the end, you don't meet the minimum criteria, the minimum score to progress in your career, and it should worry you. So that is the essence of the logbook, that every man, even a girl child, they are even more diligent. You should document every case you have seen. So if you can't document it every single day, keep a tab, your notepad, Word document. Today I've seen this case, this is the diagnosis. And then at the end of the week or at the end of the month, document all of them. Chase your bosses, please sign for me. You let them know that you've been this very much involved in it, so they shouldn't give you a low score. So that, Ghana, if you are what's at the wrong side of the law, you'll be found wanting. So just make sure you do your due diligence. So that is the importance of the logbook in summary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the next question, either you or Dr. Bar can answer. Can you share a time you made a mistake as a house officer and how you managed it?
Dr. Ba, I think you should go first.
Hello. Oh, okay. So one thing that I think that was my first mistake as a house officer. And what was it? Honestly, it was from the examination. Patient works in the clinic with some painful sores in the mouth, in the oral mucosa. So I examined and they were there. So what first came to my mind was the way they were looking, they were very close to what I would call just a patient having periodontitis when there's inflammation of the gum and then the bone. So I requested for an X-ray. The X-ray came, there was perio, there was bone loss, so I think that was all. And then I think what helped me was that in my clinic I work with senior house officers as well. So I just ran the case by them that, oh, this is what this patient has come with. And I just took an X-ray and then it looks like perio. So one of them went to examine again, and the person was like, the way these lesions are looking, looks like it's more than perio. Looks like it's more than something I would call maybe necrotizing periodontal disease. It's more than that. So no, this one, let me just alert a resident. I think it's SCC, squamous cell carcinoma. I think it's that. So that's what she said. And I showed her the X-ray, and she was like, "Oh yeah, he has periomum, but that's not where the lesion is coming from. And so we went to call a resident. He came to examine. I was like, no, this case is suspicious. Called the presented to the specialist, took Chuka's biopsy, and truthfully, it was squamous cell carcinoma. So what saved me was that I ran the case by the senior house officers, by my superiors. That is what saved me, and that is what helped me, and that's something that I'll never forget. So since then, I never rule anything out. I never go. I'm never quick to make a diagnosis. I never rule anything out. I'm never quick to make a diagnosis. And I make sure that I call superiors to come and see. Because as we go on, when you start, it's not everything that you've seen before. I hadn't seen SEC like that before. That was my first time seeing. And what helped me and prevented any kind of calamity was making sure that my superiors were aware of the case and that I was also quick to taking corrections as well. So that's the bottom line. Always let your superiors know what you are dealing with, and then they'll help you out. And with time, you become very, very good at spotting signs and then picking up signs and making good diagnosis. Yeah. So Patrick, over to you.
Yeah, Dr. Brown, were you talking to me?
Yes, please. Can you share a mistake with the new graduates?
Okay, sure. So first of all, you should know that the mistakes, in as much as they are pleasurable, you don't like it's not a nice thing to be held accountable for a blunder, but also when you're starting new, it's kind of inevitable because you're now trying to familiarize yourself with the system. So when it happens, don't be hard on yourself. Just know that one of those things, and then with time, they don't repeat themselves. So I think my mistake was that, see, I'm currently doing my own rotation, and with ONG, every information is very vital because it affects decision making. So the gestational age of the pregnant woman, or if it is after cesarean section, the number of days post-op, those goes into the decision. So for example, if person is post-op day 3, and that can decide whether we discharge the person or not. So once you get a mixed up with that, it affects the judgment of your boss and you'll be held liable if something happens. So I think my mistake was the same. It was a time where, so you see, you document if a person has seen patient today and they said the person, the gestational age is maybe 30 weeks, it assumed that if I come the next day, it will be 30 weeks plus 1 day. So I went with the flow. And so because that's how we do it, it means if there is a mistake, if I see a case today and I make a mistake in the decisional age, it perpetuates everybody that comes after me. So that was it. So I saw a case where in the prior note, the previous note before me, the decisional age was around 26 weeks. So when I saw the case, I was like, okay, then the next day it's 26 plus 1. So when my boss came for general rounds, I was like, the patient is 26, 1. So because of that gestational age, it means baby is preterm, not even up to viable, it's not even up to 28 weeks yet. So there's no need to go into a cesarean section or rush to deliver the woman. Then we check her antenatal by her estimated date of delivery, the EDD. The woman is actually around 34 weeks. So it means that the wrong information I had given had affected that woman's outcome. So if we had known like correct gestational age, the plan would have been to deliver the woman. And of course, your boss will not be happy because in my facility, every morning we have a meeting where you go and defend the decisions you took for every patient. So if it comes out that a patient was due for delivery, you didn't deliver the person, and then it was your house officer who gave you the wrong information, your boss will not be happy with it. So that was it. So I just had to explain to my boss that, oh, it's because in the previous note I saw it was the gestational age that was written. So I also just did my own by adding the next day. But I took responsibility. And I know that next time I would calculate the gestational age all over by my own self using the person's EDD so that we get a correct one. So when you make a mistake, take responsibility and explain to your boss that. And then you also don't have to make yourself a victim. So it's not like you're just quiet and because the hospital setting is very bloody. Every least mistake, you'll be crucified. So you just have to explain yourself, also take responsibility. Yeah, so that's what I did. That I saw a previous one and I projected based on it, but I know that I should have calculated it by myself. So from that time, you make sure that if you come and see a patient and what is documented is that the person is 30 weeks, 4 days, calculate yourself again just to be double sure, because who knows, you might be the one who will pick up the mistake that has been in the system for a couple of days. So that was my experience.
Thank you very much, Dr. Makapui. We've come to the end of our session. There's only one question in the chat box. I'll read it out and any of you can answer that for us. Is it advisable to start house job before clearance for facilities that start earlier before clearance comes?
Okay, so I'll go first. With this question, it comes up every year, right? And then the whole thing is that there is politics around this. Nobody truly wants to take responsibility, and it's a systemic challenge. So what I would say is it is a clear cut whether it is advisable or not. Some have done it, it works for them. Some haven't done it, it didn't work for them. So I'll use my badge as an example. When you're going to start house job without clearance, you go because your facility will approach you that they don't have house officers because the current ones they have completed with their house job and they've left. So they will reach out to you, please come and do a house job. And when you're working for us, we'll push for your financial clearance. And then you go and start working. Then 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, salary is not coming and you're agitating. Now your facility tells you that the clearance is not really in our hands. We are waiting on government. GMA has to push for you. Then you go to GMA, then you go to JDA, Junior Doctors Association, and they tell you that when you were going to start without clearance, you didn't inform us. If you had informed us, we would have told you that don't do it, wait to get clearance. Then at the same time, some people too would be at home, say, I will not start until I get clearance. The same, some elements, not as an entity, some elements of JDA, GMA will come to you that, oh, just go and do it. You're being a fool. Your colleagues are doing it. Your salary will come anyway. In the end, you'll be the one that's lost. So it's a whole politics. So my batch, the current batch of house officers, the people who completed medicals in 2024, including Julia, we had to come together and form a coalition. So like the whole Ghana, all the house officers, we had one platform, we were united and we're sharing information to push for our own financial clearance because we had already started. And this was the information they were telling us. When you go to MDC, GMA, everybody's saying there's nothing they can do about the clearance. It's in government's hands. So you guys should come together now. Maybe for now, you've not been posted to facilities. So you can do it on school basis. All those who completed SEC, UG, UDS, UCC, form a common platform and decide, are we going to start without clearance or not? And you should be able to work as a group because if it's scattered, some people have gone. And quite honestly, some people too, they don't have anything to do at home. They are bored. And then their parents can support them. So they don't see why they should be at home doing nothing when they can do their house job quickly and finish. Some people too, you are the how do they say, the breadwinner. So you too, if you are working, nobody's supporting you, you are hungry. Your parents are even expecting from you. So you also cannot afford to work without salary. So you should be able to come together as a group. If the group decision is that we will not start until we have clearance, everybody should stick to it. The facilities will approach you differently. You tell them that, no, we are not coming until we get clearance. But to take this decision, you must be able to trust that everybody will stick to it. Else you end up being the fool where you are saying, I'm not going, and people have gone. And the facilities too, they are very vindictive. So for example, what happens as CAT is that if you say you're going to start without clearance, you are given accommodation. So you have accommodation in the facility. Those who say they won't come, by the time they will come later, maybe probably they are home for 2-3 months, they realize that clearance is not coming, their colleagues are also doing the house job. Then they now approach also that they want to start. They said, you're starting late, we don't have accommodation for you, that's extra stress. So they use these small incentives and threats to divide and conquer. So you guys have to be united and make a decision. If you want to start without clearance, you must also be clear in your minds that there is no guarantee that salary will come 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, is strictly in the hands of government. Just that GMA will say something for you. GMA will be pressuring government that the children are hungry, release their clearance. But you should know that nobody owes you. It's your own decision. So you can only keep lobbying, keep pressuring government, keep pressuring GMA, and they'll push for you. But there's no timeline that this is when it will come. If you also decide that you wait till clearance comes to do it as a group, and in all of this, your mother association is the Junior Doctors Association and the Ghana Medical Association. So inform them so that when you get to that crossroad where salary is not coming, you are hungry, you don't go to GMA and they will tell you that when you're going to start, you didn't inform us. You don't go to JDA and they tell you that when you're going to start, you didn't inform us. So that is what I have to say about the current situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. McCaffrey. Thank you very much, Dr. Mayalba, for your inputs. Please, do we have any more questions? We can have a show of hands if we have any more questions. Otherwise. All right, so for our announcements, the sessions continue. The sessions for Medtransitions Summit 2025 continue tomorrow and Saturday at the same time, 5 p.m. prompt. Kindly invite your friends and colleagues by sharing the link to them as well. Tomorrow, we start our roundtable sessions where there will be speakers from various facilities, so make sure you don't miss that. Thank you very much. For our closing remarks, we'll call on Dr. Emmanuel Mensah to do us the honors. I'd like to call on Dr. Samuel Ifa to give us the closing remarks.
Okay, good evening to all of us. I guess this has been a very interactive and very educative session. My colleagues have shared their experiences, and myself, remembering all the things that they have said, I'm also learning myself. So I'm glad we have the opportunity as new, or let me say incoming house officers, to get to know some of these things. And I would entreat that we take these information seriously. We shouldn't just brush over them, because we realize that sometimes people look back and then they wish they did things differently, but then they can't go back and then undo them. So as doctors who are now coming into the system, let's get these information and let's take advantage of information and use them to help us. Let's remember all the salient points that our colleagues are raising, and let's use them. And one thing that I want to say that has already been said is the fact that you have finished medical school by the grace of God, and when you are inducted, you become full doctors. There's this tendency, like my colleagues have already said, this anxiety where you don't regard yourself, and there's this inferiority complex. And if you're not careful, it will eat into your head and you will not be able to do what you're supposed to do. And it's one of the big things, or one of the major things that influence your practice and determines your outcome as a professional. So it's very important to have that in your mind, that you are a full doctor. Fine, you are a learner, you are an intern, you are under supervision, but you are still a full doctor. And you must have that consciousness that you have earned it and you have gone through the training in medical school, so that no one can bully you around, no one can make you feel inferior, and no one can make you feel like that. And as you keep on upgrading yourself. You subject yourself to training. You learn every day. You perfect yourself. You get better, and it also shows on your outlook. So I want to thank all the speakers today who have made themselves available to give us all this information. I want to thank all our sponsors. I want to thank all who have been present today to make this program a success. And we want to see all of us, even more numbers tomorrow and then on Saturday for our subsequent programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ifaratha. I'd like to call on Dr. Edward Dasamani to give us a closing prayer. Dr. Phineas Nkrumah, will you do us the honors of giving us a closing prayer? Please, the closing prayer. Father, Lord, we are grateful for a wonderful program. We thank you for the speakers that made time to come and speak to us. We thank you for the lives of our audience. We pray that you will continue to take charge of this program till the third day. And in the end, all glory and honor shall be given unto you. Amen.
Amen.